Yamamo akwaba afi tumirikai Nesha wo Facebook no so na kasebon hu mfoni ni videos no nyabihwe ne die che wadwenche se beje mera kenka ne nyinada ede amawo e wo Facebook no esom yensha kasebon asane yemfa firase awo akane Ghana mampeni ebede chi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ede nsam ede atudwa echiremu sem ade abaako a eku editia kabam kabia memwo obi mam ha se nyane nyinada eyekom ahokyera pa na etumi eku etia kabam kabia memwo ewa bibi mayimu Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia agase echirem sem ewumse kamika memwo tumi boa ema amansen ahodo nyinada ho tumi twa wonom timamufo etumi nya akwanya eka wonom adwen ekyere ne ma ahodo eha wonom nanso adeba ko betumi aboa na kabam kabia memwo betumi de hene na abo na di mpunto etumi aba ni pasitrem nyane sem esempinifo tenase eyenhye hwe hu ni sem kabam memwo betumi abo matimamufo no so eho etumi twa wonom efe ne ombedi akwanya kase ombenya nya adwuma patimi aya no so betumi aboa bakam ka bia memwo no etimi akonkan yipam Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia agase echirem sem se betumi atenase ne yemfekire yesen edesam yenu anka no kura mfa nkire ye ho me yebetenase ayenhwe hansa emekom atuma de nipa sesabe ekom atwe aboa kotode ne to na pabada so no beka nipa de a kemika memwo bedu baabi ne betimi esini tracing Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia agase echirem sem amamia hodo ne ndokwa atumi asisu mebi etumi twese kan atumi fato kotu abago ni nyinada ejina ho kire so ni senti Ghana de hye titiriw ani wiase amansa nyina titiriw no abibiman no empedifo ntenase hye pa hu kwa do betumi afa so aboa matimamufo ho atuma to no mmomade na setimamufo ho to no de betumi aboa makemeka mambo no so ne matumi akonkan atimi de abibiman Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia sanka se ekirem sem eya abanyuma hodo bi ho no ma na ka ese empedifo betenase aya hye pa atumi apa ankonkre betumi amode akwatena no ahwe mane amatumi akonkan ede asoma mama nanso ubehwe aye ya ne abamade akopa obidin se na wakohwe eya temo hyehyɛ ya ne yakwakofa manyane bi de akwatena honom se betumi aboa ne tse ne atente ne aye adwuma na atencha na ekoso ofise na ban na aba ne senti de opɛ ene obɛyɛ o chimse sa na mo we no etumi o mangana ena mama yahodo aka titire bi ma no kemika wembo no entumi nkɔ nanim ɛwɔ mpuntomu wakasa kyerem sɛ adeba ka betumi abopa bi ma nyina etumi akonkan ɛwɔ mpuntom titiriw afa kemika bi memwo hu ne nyina ne sɛ yama maden kan no kura mfa nkyere ye ho yama no kwani nadi na empirifo do manya kwanya esom eye adehye na mama no wo mo maden hunu se kemika me betumi abo ma adehye no ehwo tomato no so mo ho to so betumi abo matemamufo no so etimi ate kemika bi memwo no asem Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia maden di se akotu jama kopie mom ewo eye Nigeria emra mpinifo maden fe na wonom eye nkasa ho dwumadie ehwe kemika bi memwo ho afi nso abi mai betumi agya ne na so etimi abo na mpuntu etimi abatitiriw afa manyosem ene no kredie mu na Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ka se ekirem sem aka ne Nelson Mandela mampeni South Africa mampeni eka sem se ye to akwaso ate biman asesasa asi so ne town mo bo adwuma se ne ya ho kire beba na nipa ho akire ne pa de kemeka memmo no enya adwuma ebie wo nso atemu ntumi nya adwuma atante ne nya adwuma ni nyina ne se nipa no komede ne de a otumi ntase enhwe han ni senti before mo de yenhye pa ne moa na kemika memmo ne mantumi konkan Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia de nsembi ede tu jawa Nigeria enkoti ensema wodo a okope Nigeria no ode tu edwa no ebi.
One of the biggest threats to democracy today is what I call the next meal principle. Before I make my point, I need to re-echo the words of one of Africa's greatest sons. Whilst the culture of peacefully choosing leaders is being entrenched, these institutions that should determine our growth are becoming weak and endangered. Several reasons account for this. First, when we place partisan, ethnic, and other interests over and above competence in appointments to these institutions, we are simply creating mere edifices and structures to reward cronies, creating avenues for reluctant Democrats to get a backdoor route to autocracy and misgovernance. Second, there is a growing phenomenon in our democracy whereby people deliberately run down these independent and accountability institutions purely on emotive reasons, especially when these institutions decide, as they should, to uphold the law in the interest of the masses and in strict fidelity to the law. Ladies and gentlemen, it is rather alarming that sometimes these bastardizations of the institutions are undertaken taken by people with loud voices, people with professional and technical pedigrees, and people who know the truth as espoused by these institutions, ultimately collapse democracy and declare a dictatorship. This is gradually giving way, even though few spots still exist for this path to toppling the democratic order, as we have seen in the sub-region recently. In place of that is an orchestrated hollowing out of democratic structures and processes and taking full control of the state and related organs, making it nearly impossible for the political opposition to win elections. This is a potent way to bury democracy by placing form over substance and depriving democracy of its essential functions.
Any awoti ye akane Ghana man penny abedi achire. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia.
Yentu akasi abone so na osoafo ono na hwe Enquires amemuo ahinsie ene esom ho nsem Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim edin sema betuja se nti ase ne nkaboma aba Enquires amemuo ahinsie ne esom ho nsem na yade a obehwe se obema no agina ne na so se ne ebe ya ebeboa oman no odi sansem we etuja wa bro share na dwuma se ende ana ne nsem trofo ni project coordinator, heads of departments ni agencies ehia na ochemu se ade na ni tuade hu kese pa ne so obehu se Enquires amemuo no ahinsie ne esom ho nsem no ebetimi agina ne naso no obia atimi adi ni dwuma sane ese sane ebe ya basabasa ya biara ensi sanso no we ni suade hu se ya huni hu nsem eda na ni so ye papa opese chese ompese obehu se fim bia ewo monten so sane ebe ya wewe bia embefa timem ni bia nti na ne staff na momodin aso betimi adi omudwuma ye sane ebe ya omani suade hu no ombetimi etimi edi so ye papa na abo oman na di mpunto kese pa edi abra oman Ghana.
In itself used to be a ministry. Religious affairs used to be the erstwhile Ministry of Zongo Development Initiative. So you have the Christians, you have the Muslims, and you have all other faiths combined. Then you have chieftains, you have all the chiefs combined. Then you have sanitation combined, and then local government, all the MMDEs. So you can imagine it's a huge ministry. Therefore, we need a time where all the other sectors are going to do presentation with gestapos, with the honey over note, and all other things. But today's is just a familiarization one, announcing my presence in the ministry with my chief director for him also to welcome me and start training me. Well, he's my first chief director as a minister. Thank God he's an Alhaji and I'm an elder. So religious affairs properly placed. And traditionally, the chiefs too are properly placed. There were some fears that maybe we are going to, now that they are bringing the chieftaincy here, we are going to overshadow them. Then the Muslims were scared, the pastors, religious affairs were scared. So today, it was my duty to give them hope that look, the chief director is an Alhaji, the minister is an elder. So religious and chiefs, you have no problem. Then local governance, I've been a long-serving member of the committee. I know a lot about that. They have no cause to be afraid of. But you are asking of the head count. Yes, it is an area sure that my chief director and the various directors, including the minister, have effective supervision of them. You go to a ministry, they have about 40,000 workers in the head of local government service distributed among 261 MMDs. So meaning if you divide 40,000 over 260, every district assembly will have over 200 staff. Now when you go there, you see about 20, 30. The remaining 170, where are they? People take it like they are on the payroll, but they don't go to work. So we have to make a head count so that the few ones who are working diligently will be seen. And those who don't go to work, as to whether they are vacated posts or they are at posts, then we see what should be done there.
Eni ya uti ye Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim ono na ye osoafo na hwe Enquires amemuo ahinsie ene esom ho nsem ho.
Yentu akasem bon se yemfa nwura mu wo man Ghana yemra se bedwam. Na osoafo no ena hwe man Ghana humasua so. Ono kran so ena yemra se bedwane ogina mu ede ma de hia. Wonom Tamale South abeto empesua so Heluna Idrisu dinsam ede atudwa echirem sem. Insanwam Adwoa Agyei wonom ma se bedwane Frank Anodompre and Afenso, acting chief executive officer, Edema Petroleum Commission, Emefa Hardcastle, Bomodin Etimitras and Rada, Masaba Jumpa, any minority chief whip, Eddie Siania, O James and Small Dobia, a free mammy, Emefanum to from Yamianum Ducrini, na pantoma o chema de todwa no ankon kan ye kura na haru na dusu aka se kirem sem ototo sere eye anodom presse asema free eye emefa no to form nyame anim ne kure ni entwe ni senti onfa nche no every say Ghana madde dedo na asa na mote asem to dwona mo kasa o manu say kwa sa bobom sa ni senti de asie no ayasama enya de ya de pakram wasaka se kirem se enya de amase badwafo no betimi atena asem we so aso so every say onyankoda ene woda ena ya to ahye de nua so a office oni na fine ebi a kine bi no na saba ne sunti ni senti ensma hodo a eye mefa kan ya mianim ne kurani abonsemetiko enya sampenti mesebedwo fa nyina amamoden enka senti efisa sama efiri ye nua ba emefa no to fom nya mianim ni aya sama emu awira me yepam na Ghana fo ba kan brada ema mesebedwo fo moden ekotena ase appointment committee na me nkoteme ho ase kakra bisumi kopie ya chese ne emefa ikobie na no eka kire anadom press omo ye micro minority ena ne anadom press za denti na be kasa yeye minority keke kan se na wo se micro die adenti na wo de micro ni ka ho ena anadom prebu fu pass asem ye wakan me do ba fam na kwan so pa na me fa sense da bi ene na betimi aye utumi nya me flat silly ena wo se tese wasa ga jam za me ye silly mfanti be se yimpeje nyan ene o me no ba twa pa ma na ya mpa sense we mo no ena halim na do su kirem se da bi e me fa sama wakan ya mianim de kure ni wano kokotwea wan kan ye nti yen kese nti office Ghana for do na pese e ma do nya kwanya kura memum nanso ma mo kɔ parliament na nse mi se firi ma no e de ba nya mianim de kure ni aya ne ntwa ye yen kwatie bra mente ho asene so ya ma se bedwuma ndra da no nse ma hodo a esi ye ne yen kwatie bi
What do you mean you are taking me on? What does that phrase mean? But you are micro minority. That's not Sammy himself use that phrase. You can bully me. 106.9. What is silly? You heard the word silly. What called me silly? She called me silly. I do a silly child. No. Who deal with this matter? You called me silly. I don't have time for you. Did I mention your name? Why are you taking your hat on your head? Did I mention your name? You know you were fighting on TV about this your city. Did I mention your name? You cannot call me. Did I mention your name? Did I mention your name? You can carry a cross you want to carry.
Enti dada wote endrada enyasem kuma efa eye masebedwendi ma eye nsawoma Adwoa Agyei Frank ano dompre and afinso acting chief executive officer de ma petroleum commission emefa eye hardcaster and endrada enyasem kuma ene katoma mento o masebedwam eno achi ene haru na idrusin so din sam sei
Mr. Speaker, as I listen to him, we only can appeal to him that we share what the Honorable Member for Damango said, that this House must stand united, indeed unanimous, in condemning the conduct and in demanding an apology and a retraction of it, but to persuade our colleague not to pursue further, wanting this matter resolved at the privileged committee. Mr. Speaker, the mention of it even on the floor of this House will send some warning to the public and non-members of this House that the Parliament of Ghana is clothed with both penal and disciplinary powers vested in it by virtue of Article 122 of the 1992 Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, contempt, you have been a torchbearer of wanting to preserve the honor and dignity of Parliament, the honor and dignity of members of Parliament, and more importantly, the honor and dignity of our political class. So to honorable members, we do not and we should not accept that conduct and that insult. Today it is him, tomorrow it may be you. That is why we must stand united in condemning it. But to honorable minority whip, I'm pleading with you that because it's a woman, and you know Ghanaian society and our patriarchal values, forgive her. But before the forgiveness, as the Honorable Doyo, the leader, the Honorable Mama Yada, we should get the affected person to render an unqualified apology to the minority whip.
Any awoti ye ayoswafo no ena hwe oman Ghana ehumasua so no kra yenso na emesebedwane ede ma adehia one more tamale south deden ede Helena Idrisu na Sikapa
Kwadwo
de esi endo emesebedwam ni o
na hwese ne obisa no mafro uti wudi na chese wonse nani abre na chese ni aba no
se bia na dompe e provoke ne dia ye ntumi nkyere de nanso no e ma ne ye pese dodo na akọ mesebedwam na amammu no muka hu bi nanso aya munya abotre
wonse nipa bi wono ma sane ono obekasa na sane ma bi obeya akire no ebia na opese wonya ne boko but ono pese wo obeya ne boko
awu se aya na
se ebufo obeba
muye ni munyamfo ntia na timemfo dodo na hwe mo ho esua bibi firi mo nkyɛn ti se mo kɔma se bedwona mo kwatena se na mo kodi mu ho atem anya mianim dokure ni enya de pa nti we de besra da ye mam ye mefa me bi nsi da me bi nsi bio me bɔ no kokon me wo fa ase no nti metu fo no hwe na de oyeye wa anya bio
enso na obi anhye na bufuo
nti na ye kan obi hwe abufuo kura na kwan wo ho ni na tem wati ase nti ko wanim to aso
former attorney general ye Ayikwei otu ede nsema betudwa kire se eye petition na Kwame Ofosu apia eko file ye se nkomunyi EC person Jane Mensa ene na adwumayefo enfra kunya ne so no ondu ohu ni se nya ade a nsem no ejina ne naso ye kra ewa abro ne nsem twefo etwetwe nkomo na oche se eye Kwame Ofosu apia nsem ade betudwa wa wo hwa nsem yi emu yedu ahia no ondu ohu ni se sabinya sabia anima no ntino ebenam so amayeyi isi edi afri honum esan se Mr. Ofosu apia edi betudwa se nkronkro bia wa framantam mu no ewa abro moto aba edi ayi eye na hyebedwafo wo afin pimienu ne aduonu nim no ade asantro kofi akpofu likpe ani eye lolobino nkronkro we no ade isi esi omokwan se ombeto aba edi ayi na hyebedwani nti ono Ayikwei otu kase na wa nsem we ya wo kan de se ya asem kituwe bi asem we mudu ya hia enu nti no o kase ye isi enfri na kunya so enya ade a we di ebema isi etimi efri na kunya no so ye kra no do hu ni se eye chief justice na betimi achesa asem we di ampa isi anya ade nti na so ofri na kunya so na se enwo se office nti de ye Kwame Ofosu apia kan kra de and what's on canon jai cry ya dia isi ebetimi afi na kunya so esa sansem kitwa we nti odin sem say etuja
in terms of merits, that is rather what one could look at. In terms of merits, like he himself rightly pointed out, why did he wait all this while? The same people that he said were incompetent had organized another election in 2024, and the same people this time had the opportunity to take part in the elections. My understanding, although I wasn't there at the time, was that the one constituency was created very late, and at the time when the EC was notified, Parliament itself was on recess, and from the constitutional provisions, the EC can only create a constituency by a constitutional instrument. So they did not have the luxury of time. There was no time because this constitutional instrument must have to be laid for 21 sitting days, and they got the information very late, around the middle of November, and the election was first week of December, at the time when Parliament had risen. So they were handicapped, and there was nothing they could do. In fact, you have to vote within a constituency, because a parliamentarian is elected for a constituency. So the constituency must first have to be created.
Eni ya uti ye Ayikwei otu onu na ya former attorney general.
Yantu akase bonse fon kopie mu awa Sante Mantenim. Na kopie mu Sante Mantenim ene meka se no enkra free honom eba ekirem se. Eja hyehye ahyase awa fi wei bosumi wei ahyase no mekira opere pon bosumi ni mu nom. Eja hyehye makoma ha ene aduana nwotwe 148. Ene yeja ana fire cases atimiasi awa Sante Mantenim. Na wejina fire eye public relation officer ADO3 Peter Adai oni ginamum edema Ghana National Fire Service no etrimsem ade announcement meja hyehye wei etimi etete na koba mu edi ewu awa Sante Mantam nyane se dedi kan eye ewiemu ensa kyereye afin so ahweye nipa entimi enye ene ne ma hodo bi nipa bi entimi enfa to akwam na afin so nipa bi o maso odenche se ne wo ka dempa wonte ase no sa ne me bi ne ka ho me na me ka se na Sante Mantam chese ne afi we nkuto a ye hya se opepon busumi mu eja hyehye makoma ha ene aduana nwotwe ene atimi asi Asante Mantanum na mna waje mre ene die kasebo nam senior ogina mum eto nkra edema wa Asante Mantanum sa kwade we pratwetwe nkomo na wochire mi se ha dwunye pa na hweja hodo asisi Asante Mantanum na nanka yade anka de chebo betumi abom homaden atimi asia no kwampo senkejai entumi ensi nanso odi hu ya wase nipa atimi atenase ayahwe hansa amene yahyehyɛ wei atumi ahyɛ japade ema nipa bi mpɔnkɔ atumi ahoro Asante Mantanum tirem se de yasie no emu eyeye pam wakasa tirem se efiri na ekɔ Ghana fo ma yani emra ye ho so ye pa efiri se ewiem sa kyerɛ ye no nyade a asesa ewia ne bodenden emframa so nam ni senti se yene ya nipa ho bɛbɔ modern dija edi dwuma no se yanhwɛ ye hu ye gyahyehyɛ no ebetimi ato akoso atatana ko ba me ye pam wakasa tirem se ekwan de betumi afa so aboa esi gya ne ho kwan no betumi aboa titiriw se ne se betena se ehwɛ hansa megya na atumi ahye ansa ya fra odumi djadwuma ye ko se ye meba ne medumi gya ochim se no ne ba ne sa entumi konkan megya hyehye no etu entumi entwa ne senti ode adesre ede ato Ghana fo nyina nim sem won bekɔ so yenkyerɛkyerɛ de magana ma mu nyina afi nso ebie wonim se won wo obi awie uyiso nyinam kanea wo fia wo kwadwa mo de se wanyinam kanea no obetuma dundum ne nyina da ansa na wodan mpo wato punum ebie so wonim se wo de gas cylinder wo yusu be wo fia no ahunu se liike enkofa bo nto so bo mo de anafa kɔ ne yensiesie ma anase bedwa yusu mo so mo tumi hyɛ ntare tenten usatare a wo hyɛ ne nsɛ tenten na ejane yɛsɛ dare pɛ wa hwɛ na so ni pedimetumi ahwɛ ne senti wo yɛ oba wo yɛ aduane kofutela sɛ de wa hyɛ betena hai ontumi fa nkɔ gyina ɛyɛ gas ho enkonkɔ ndo aduane fi sɛ ejatuma hwɛ obɛhye sɛ tum ma yaso ayɛ ne senti yɛ tufu sɛ hwɛ ni yɛ sɛ atare wo fa nkɔ gyina gonwe enkonkɔ gyina wo gas ho enti Asante regional ɛyɛ fire commander edi otire Peter Dai etufu kyem sɛ Ghana fo mo hwɛ mu yɛ fi sɛ mo hwɛ ni yɛ gyahye no ebɛta akɔso ma Ghana Obamade jemra ni ensem twini sakode prepare to come ni nsem ni mu nkyere mu no enie
from CBC we are recording 148 fires out of which bushfire na every kind about 50 bushfires there were 148 domestic fire and so by 49 fires now commercial other types of fires so Adwoa so bushfire is not there because of experience a lot of it. Corona so yeah, amount for Adwoa Agyei na only eja atu. Inti Nhyiraba Kwadwo Sammy amount for say do around obi jabe tuma omo hwe so obi gina ho na omo sense so si no ma hwe ama ahye pra ansa omo efu na afi so omo bija edi tuma o rem omo mo twa abe omo no a petition omo shibidi
DLFM
106.9 in fact, a lot of domestic fires now. Kitchen or any electrical, electricity and electrical devices in the kitchen hall is gas is in here and go now they too soon and mass gas means some cylinder of here the filling gas or as of problem.
It's DLFM 106.9.
Na brano wa check after say ukiji we are over e wo lose e wo stove mu wa solve some problem
eni a woti yekopie mu awa Asante Mantanum ono ena ye kasamafo edema odumja enkrabata wa Asante Mantanum ne din edidi o3 Peter Adwoa Agyei mre eni ye nsem twere ni sakode apepre twetwe nkwa mu nsem nyinada no ena ye de asumye dan ye ho sema ye ba kasebode aka akire no yabetini nyina de fronom edi amamu
Makwantu ohun eye medadwen nanso me yensam tro ne nti menya adagye ye hwehwemu ekohu Sunday Sam's consult na wonum nti ende metimi ba menya abre ne adagye ekenkan ye eye investigations about womo ana me hu se wo apply for visa assistance a enfeli efri se wonum e wo track records madansi die nie ma me nintrel Sunday Sam's consult edi Britia webi ebeje wo visa ama wo se wo ko United Kingdom, Canada, Dubai, Poland, Croatia, na afei kura deɛ Serbia any Greece nso abɛka ho a work permit ɛtɛkyere. Ma menkyerɛ wɔn mo ɛkyere kwan. Sunday Sesams Consult ɛwɔ Ofanko Barrier, Asofan, ɛwɔ Ben Wise Park Hotel, ɛwɔ Asofa New Station hɔnom a. Frɛ number 0244 291546. Email address nso ɛyɛ samuelowusu626@gmail.com. Yɛgye ehu die nti, we connect dreams with opportunities. Ɛma n'enyi wa dwendwen, frɛ wɔnom na nso bedi adanseɛ. Empo ase deɛ media.
Yamamo akwaba afe yanto akasebo ne so wani gyedie ma na Mahamuda Kayan Halidu adodo na afre ni Big City Edensem abetuja ona na oye former manager Edema Dr. Paabobo sanso no ye entertainment pandit ewo DL entertainment show ni so no den sama betuja ede ache se eye minister for tourism culture and creative art eye Zifa Abra Gomashi Ombo Modian say ye creative art fan no ebetimi aboa ede ama obi biara owo creative art industry ni mesan say eye ade a creative art ye fan no unhu sene ni gina bia ewo sese na oditwe mu eka say ya de aban edi policies aduonu abetuja omo kire say ya de ombeboa ama creative art sector no etimi agina ne na so sene ebeya ebetu mpon na emomodi former tourism culture and creative art deputy minister hu ya papa esan say ya de odi nsembetuja e kire say wafri omafri eya aban mu beye mfie watwini nti sane eya creative art fan ni gina ne de sese de onim ana ocha se ade nti na obeka se wunim ewo se wuhu esa se abra na mo wa aban mu no ade eya mo ahia na mo de bu ankrofo ana se fa so de ben pa na eba wo ye creative art fan ni ma sese o kire se ya ade a eye creative art fan unhu ni gina bia sese na wo sho mo ye adwuma wa aban mu na ye tia 1 tia 2 snate no eya de omokọ pension ebu omuye papa munya faso wo so into creative art fan e say ebu asane ebeya eyo underground artist for na omoba ne so muhia mo a ombetimi akba eye creative art sector honum abenya mboa anya san so dia eya de creative art sector and entimi konanim sane mo ka no e wo so obi biara enya faso e wo creative art fan so the same say etuja
Osha, the new government, the 20 policies are outlining now. The basics of all they say they want to revitalize the entertainment or the creative art sector. But the question is, say revitalize the creative arts sector now. Then you need to make it and do it well. Because the film village, most of the things that were stated now. I mean, you see, there's a big difference between stating a policy and implementing a policy. Okay. Everybody can state a policy, but to implement it now, and mostly that's where the question comes in. For the creative arts fund now, Auntie Jifa, I mean, she was stressing more on the creative art fund. I want to beside the question be when to me, that's where I also felt a bit disappointed again. But on my good reason, say as she stands now, because Mufi office more 8 years, so she can't give the current state of the creative art fund. But Anka, young compare business and contrast and share what that creative art fund. Then it's the benefit of it into the creative bodies.
DLFM 106.9.
What was the benefit of that quote unquote creative art funding? Because I'm a creative person myself. Yeah, well, very creative. We want to really know what really goes into that fund and how do you benefit from it? Because and even over benefits, what are the merits attached to it? What are the demands and what should you do to benefit from this very creative art fund? Personally, I was looking at something more than the creative art fund. And I always my cry and I say, once for instance, oh yeah, Benjuma, tier 2, tier 1, whatever no. I mean, who pension now you have something to rely on. But your creative body now, after pension, there's nothing to fall back on. And very sad. So I was looking at say you may have a fund that goes not just for say your creative person, I'll be tap it into it. Because trust me, a fund that is which is supposed to be for everybody. But the only political seat and political income you can't get access to it. That's the fact and the good of it. So when I share a funder that benefits the aged creative person, and I pay what when did you see from profile everything out? She said at the vetting grounds, when you cut creative art ministry, mostly the attention goes to one, the hospitality, the tourism. You see, but I'll speak for the music side because that's where I'm more expertise in. The music side, much wasn't really said into it.
DLFM 106.9.
Ene ya wuti ye eye Mahamudua eye Kayan Halidu adodo na afra no eye Big City Oni eye DJ Hitman etwetwe nkomo wo DL Entertainment Show ne so wo eye kwesi de etwa mu na ochese eye creative art fan e wo so omo creative art industry ni mu nyina enya so emfaso
wakasa pa sebe kra no enchembesha menyum to ase me twan se musika sebe no foto no be kon kan te sa me anyum no me ntokra
ada wo to ama
na me koma hu dwe na maso be ye hede a o se papa no ma bro we papa ye papa Charles Kwadwo Sammy Adwoa pa o ma ye pa chese mo na bi mfiri ba bi ama o
bi o hwe omo a ya ebo wo ma chese nya omo a omo yam yi omo koye omo adoya na chese nka ya o mbebre ye papa
me ya ka kwantuom ni nyina no na o ba bi efiri ba omo nya mmoa omo deda eye institutions na no dide men na wo mo ankasa na omo ye adwuma ne de yekom ne de won what ya say ha agenti we de
dinya na to benyi no na efie kura mpo no nya ba bi mpo fanity nto de na ha
se fi ne nwum bi a wabo no o se ye twen na bibia gina so obela nche ne nansenya enti yenko Facebook so ne ka Ghana fo agenti ne bi piaga no tire mi se emefa ahomaso pa ni yo ya da se we see Daniel Coleman no tire mi so hwe live edifra hafu Kenya si number 2 Jericho ya da se Hansen dio no tire mi se good afternoon to you Nhyiraba na fi nto Adwoa Agyei Sikapa o se kase ebo no emu de pa no hwe live edifra Atomic Hotel no tire mi se ye bo adwumaden ye nti yenkwaso amu adwuma yenso ya da se pa mo nso a moye ya advert ne yankopon wo nhyira mawai no nkwaso antra mu nhyira ban mu maso ode ne mu nyaya etoje mo am wo fa ke no se so de hwe live edifra new plan station kwame nkoma sek no tire mi se if Dr. Puni and Sedu Agongo eno Ghana mpani fo atranse agya omo se omo nkwade a na Ghana mrai na sa amanyofo ne de obi aba obeya de ope emane ntumi nchi obi a yewu ya da so tire nsia kase nkoma OT assistant secretary Greater Accra Region na Vinzi Hajia Safia Mohammed MPP National Women's Organizer Hofu yo ya da se pa ofake wie ne begina we sina kase bo ne bunu kom se pon enianu me na besuma wie no edi ameje so takrade Kwadwo krom to be wo de se konkron Nhyiraba Kwadwo Sammy bi mene
Adwoa Agyei Sikapa
na shane saka se gbe na musemufo ne mace mebe entwe na koviti de kopie mo ewo Facebook no so ye sore so amana na Adwoa Silkide ene ne pamfo de DLFM adwumadie no abetoa so de amamu nyina mo ene tia adehye
Midimafo Pokwase Maira Accra Midimafo Pokwase Maira Accra